some of you know, and as stated, I grew up on a small farm not far from here along the Upper Iowa River. I remember spending many summer evenings enjoying the free shows by the bandstand here in New Albin, watching baseball games at the Shicky Fink ballpark on Sunday afternoons with my dad, and fishing out at Army Post Landing. But our purpose here today is to honor and remember the many young men and women from your community that have served and are serving now today in the U.S. Army, the U.S. Armed Forces. It may seem like only yesterday that many of these young soldiers, Marines, sailors, and airmen were your classmates that played baseball or at the ballpark on Sunday afternoons, went to the movies with you, or sometimes just hung out with you on summer eve. I only knew some of the young people from your community, but they were no different than many of the other young men and women from other small communities throughout America. When their country called them to serve, they accepted that call with the honor, grace, and responsibility that was required of them. The New Albin community has shed many tears for its young men and women who have served their country and honored, and in some cases have made the ultimate sacrifice to protect us and preserve all of our freedoms. I apologize for not being able to relate a personal experience with someone from your community, but maybe an experience of my own may help explain why this day is so important to me. I was a young platoon commander in Vietnam when I first met Tommy Lee Johnson. Tommy was a young man and a farm kid, a lot like me, but he was from a small community near Fitzgerald, Georgia. We became very good friends early in my tour in Vietnam. Tommy had a young son back home and an aging mother. And he liked to talk about coon hunting, going cat fishing, driving fast cars, and chewed red man's tobacco. He was a lot like myself at the time. Marine officers were trained at the basic school not to become close to their men. But Tommy became an exception to that rule for me during my tour in Vietnam. Tommy had already served most of his time when I first met him in Vietnam, and he seemed to take his personal responsibility to tell me when to keep my head down and how to avoid the many booby traps that we often encountered every day when we were on patrolling. My first couple of months in Vietnam were rather uneventful, except for being certain each night that I would probably not live to see the next day. February 24th, 1969 was not a significant day, nor was An Loc a significant place in the history books of the Vietnam War. The day started out with a beautiful sunrise over the An Ton Mountains, what was once a beautiful country. Later, I often wondered how God could let there be so much ugliness in such a beautiful place. My platoon was called on the radio to help rescue another platoon in the immediate area, that was pinned down under heavy fire. Tommy, being a seasoned veteran and a seasoned Marine, immediately volunteered to take point as our platoon started towards the other platoon's position. We started down this ridge line. When machine gun fire erupted on our flank, Tommy Lee was the first Marine to fall. After a fierce but brief firefight, Tommy, though gravely injured, was retrieved from the battle. As Tommy lay dying, his last words were of regret, that he would not be able to keep the promise to his mom back home and his young son, that he would return home safely. I will never forget Tommy. And just as the names on your New Albin monument express the many young soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen that have not been able to come home safely to your community. And when they died in far-off lands, their hopes and dreams were lost forever. It is their sacrifice that they have given the rest of us the opportunity to enjoy the fullness of life and liberty we hold so precious. It is in remembering them we give thanks and honor their sacrifice. In closing, I would like to share with you a short poem inscribed on the National Vietnam Memorial, written by Major Michael McDonald, U.S. Army, who was killed in Vietnam shortly after he wrote this poem to his fallen comrades. If you are able, save for them a place inside of you, and give one backward glance when you are leaving for the places where they may no longer go. Be not ashamed to say you love them, though you may or may not have always. Take what they have taught you with their dying and keep it with your own. And in that time when men decide to feel safe to call this war insane, take one moment to embrace those gentle heroes you left behind. Thank you, New Albin. I salute your fallen heroes.